Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. I am in fact still alive. It's been quite a while since I've uploaded anything just because, you know, I'm in school and school is just like right to you and then it laughs at you and stuff. Anyway, school's been rough and I haven't had time to film a video, but I'm ignoring my schoolwork now and doing more important things like videos. So I am back here with another car rant. Alright, well, welcome back, everyone, to another car rant. Of course, you join me back in my room, which looks, you know, pretty much exactly the same as it always does, but there's something new. We have even more technology in my filming videos on my second camera angle. We now have a, I guess, virtual camera person. It follows me. It follows me no matter where I go. It's pretty cool. So, you know, now you always see me. It's pretty cool stuff. So it's one of those tracker things, and it knows where I am. What am I talking about today? You know, I kind of was a little short on topic since I've ranted about a lot of things, but I figured today might actually be the day I discuss something very important, okay? As you probably know by the title of this video, we're going to talk today about my ideal garage. So my perfect garage that is pretty much not attainable. I think that's the definition of ideal, right? It's perfect, but it's never gonna happen. So this garage would be, if I have unlimited space, unlimited money, and rarity doesn't matter, what would my garage look like? So let's get right into it. Let's start with the basics. First off, I don't want to own too many cars. Prior to other people's beliefs or other people who are rich and whatnot, I don't want tens of billions of cars, okay? I don't want to be like Jay Leno where I own an entire warehouse just full of cars, okay? And there's a reason for that. I believe that less cars makes each car more special, right? And now this might just be me, you know, if you want to buy billions of cars, go for it, let me have some. I figure the more cars you have, the less special each of them is. If you're a car enthusiast and you have one car, you probably love that car. My first car, my Focus, okay? Now by all measures, that is an incredibly normal car. There's nothing special about it. It's a Ford Focus Titanium, but I loved that thing. It had little quirks and stuff that just made it so cool. And it was the same with my Dart. And now I own two cars. You probably know I have my Dart and my Fiero. And I'll have a Fiero video coming soon, Fiero update video. But I love both of those cars so much. And again, neither of them is particularly special. Like if I took them to Concorde Elegance, they'd be like, why is there a Fiero here? But I love my Fiero. My Fiero is like my favorite car ever made in the world. It's so cool. And I love my Dart as well. The Dart is, I think, the perfect commuter car. But if I had like 100 cars, they probably wouldn't stand out that much. And the other thing is, I like to drive all of my cars. And if you have hundreds of cars, you're never going to drive them all. You get to drive them like once a year, you know? Whereas I want to drive all of my cars consistently and regularly. So that kind of sets the stage for how I'm going to have my ideal garage. Right? I don't like overlap. I don't like two cars that do the same thing. That doesn't make any sense to me. I'm not going to own like a McLaren 600 LT and a Ferrari F8. Like those are the same category of cars, track focused supercar that cost about the same. Why would I drive my Ferrari if I could drive my McLaren? And vice versa. Let's start off with 100% cars I already want on my ideal garage. Number one, guess what? 2016 Dodge Dart SXT. That's the car I currently own. Definitely go watch my video on it. I got it souped up a little bit. I put the GT wheels on it. I put the racetrack taillights on it. I put the spoiler on it. I put the black roof on it. I didn't put them on. Other people I paid to put them on for me. But it's souped up. It's just the way I like it. And to be honest, it's the perfect commuter car. It gets good gas mileage. It looks good. It's very spacious. It's quiet. It rides so good. It handles well. It's not very fast, but it's the perfect commuter car. I love that thing. That would be my daily driver in my perfect garage. Number two, guess what? 1987 Pontiac Fiero. This is not very exciting so far. I adore this car. As you probably know, I think a lot of you are Fiero fans if you subscribe to me. Pontiac Fiero, first American mass-produced mid-engine car. I think it's one of the best-looking cars to come out of the 80s. It's got pop-up headlights. It's mid-engine. It's a manual. It's got everything. Again, go watch my Fiero video. Love that car. So I have my Dart as my daily driver. I have my Fiero as my sort of retro sports car, right? And I would use it for what I use it right now. I use my Dart to go to school. I use my Fiero, you know, take it to car shows, take it to my friend's house, take it to Bible study, stuff like that, right around here. All right, now number three. For those who don't know me, this is going to be a surprise, and you'll be like, what the heck? But okay, here it is. 1962 Chevy Corvair Wagon. All right? This thing is so cool. So a lot of you are probably like, what the heck? Why on earth would you want that? And it's funny because a lot of the cars I want are kind of like that, right? Like the Fiero kind of has a bad rep for catching fire, and as it was a failure sales-wise. The Corvair was a similar thing where, of course, guess what? We talk about the Corvair, we got to talk about unsafe at any speed and yada, yada, yada. It was all controversy, and the Corvair eventually suffered from it sales-wise. But anyway, 1962, okay, they had a Chevy Corvair station wagon. So, well, for you who don't know what the Corvair is, the Corvair was Chevy's weird 60s era, right, where they thought everything was going to be air-cooled because Volkswagen was selling so many air-cooled engines. So Chevy came out with the Corvair, which had an air-cooled rear-engined V6, or flat 6. I guess it's like a 6 that's really flat. So instead of the trunk, you have a flat 6 engine that's air-cooled, so you don't have a radiator or anything, and then that powers the rear wheels. And so then the front is the trunk. You got a frunk in it, and it came in a sedan, it came in a coupe, you could get it in a van, a ramp side, and then a station wagon for the first generation. And they only made the station wagon from 61 to 62. You could get it with a 2-speed power glide, which was the automatic Chevy used at the time. You could get a 3-speed manual or a 4-speed manual, and about half of them were 2 speeds, and then the other half were 3 or 4-speed manuals. And you could get a few different engines in it. The maximum horsepower for one of these was 100 horsepower. Incredible. So you're probably wondering then, Eric, why the heck would you get a Corvair station wagon? Well, for one, I think they're pretty freaking cool looking. You know, I'm more of an 80s car fan and a modern car fan than a 60s cars fan. But I love the Corvair station wagon, and it's so different and ridiculous. It's so cool. Like, it's a rear-engined, air-cooled station wagon made by Chevy. I just love it because it's so weird. Why would you have a rear-engine station wagon? That makes no sense. But then also you have a station wagon with, you know, space in the back and a frunk. I don't know. I think it's so cool. And even though it's slow as anything, I really want one. This would fit in as like my classic car and just my cruiser. You could take this out and you're not worried about going fast or anything. You just take it out and chill and drive around in your rear engine station wagon. I think it's so cool. And you can take people for rides in it because it's a wagon. But of course, it's the rarest of all Corvair wagons, and I haven't seen one for sale. Not that I could really buy one anyway right now. But that's number 3. So we got the Dart, the Fiero, and a Corvair station wagon as like my people carrier and my classic car. This is where it starts to get up into debate. Like, I don't really have any set things in my mind. One car I would probably get as well is the new Hummer EV SUV. They come in the pickup, they come in the SUV. I would prefer the SUV. I think it looks better. And I would use this similar to how we use our GMC Envoy. If you haven't seen that video, be sure to check it out. That's our most popular video. You're all our Envoy fans, I suppose. But we use that, you know, you're going grocery shopping, you want to put a lot of stuff in the car, and I don't feel like taking my Corvair, I can take my Hummer. As well as this Hummer is really the only electric car that I honestly like. I think it's so cool looking. I've always kind of liked Hummers, but I never really wanted one until this one came out. And of course, it makes 800 horsepower. But as cars, you know, go more towards electric, you might have like emissions bans and stuff. I would have an electric car, and it might as well be a cool one, right? So the Hummer EV for sure, I'd use that for people carrying. It'd be kind of a luxury car as well. And also it's the fastest car on my list so far. You know, bad weather, you can use the Hummer EV. It's just kind of a good all-purpose vehicle, and one that's nice to have. If one of the car breaks down, I can tow it with the Hummer, you know? And I just think it's really cool. So I would have the Hummer EV as well on there. Again, those cost like $100,000, and they're not coming out for another year or so, I think, but I would have that. Here's what we have so far. We have the Hummer EV as my sort of all-purpose, all-weather luxury car. You have the Corvair station wagon as my classic cruiser and the car you can like take people out in and stuff. You have my Dodge Dart as my daily driver, and then my Pontiac Fiero as like my sports car. That's my weekend car I take out every once in a while. All of these cars are awesome, but I feel like there's one more spot in here for like a modern performance car, because I do want that. Sort of how in my family we have our 66 Corvette, right, as like your weekend car, and then you have your 2014 Corvette Stingray, which again, I've done videos on both of them, go check it out, as like our modern performance car. That's where you really want to go fast, and you can take it out more often than you would like the classic car. So there's a few options for a modern performance car. Now, ideally, I would want a stick shift one, but that's kind of hard to find, and I would like it to be mid-engine, because if you know me, I like mid-engine cars. I just think they're so cool. First one is Lotus Emira, okay? This is the new Lotus that's coming out. I've always been a big fan of Lotus, and this car is looking really appealing. For one, it's going to cost about $100,000, which again, this is my perfect garage. We're not considering price, but 100 grand for a car like the Emira actually is not that bad. You know, you get 400 or so horsepower from supercharged V6. It comes in a manual. It has the same dimensions or so of the Fiero, so it's like a small car you can kind of skirt around, and it comes with a manual. Did I already say that? And I think it just looks great. It's a really cool car from Lotus. I like it. Super cool. The only reason I think maybe not the Emira is 400 horsepower is plenty of horsepower, but you could have cars with a bit more horsepower, you know what I'm saying? But again, it's a lightweight, sports car, and I do really, really like those. The other one is the new Corvette Z06, all right, the C8 Z06. Now, this car is definitely really appealing. It costs about the same as the Lotus, $100,000 or so, but it makes 670 horsepower, significantly more horsepower. Now, it is a bit heavier, but I mean, it's just that much. It's a lot faster in general. I would say, maybe controversially, I actually think that the Lotus looks a little bit better than the Corvette. I love the C8, I do. And the Z06 definitely ups the styling game, but I still don't think it's like the best looking car. I think it's good looking, but maybe could be a little better looking. But again, the power plant in that car, the naturally aspirated V8 that revs to like, I think it's almost 8,000 RPM or something like that. So cool. That's like the main reason to buy one of those. I definitely want to see it in person, because the same thing happened with the C8 Stingray, where I thought it looked okay on screen, and then you see it in person, I'm like, okay, this is actually really good looking. I feel like the same thing would happen for the Z06. But definitely a strong contender as well. The only downside is these didn't come with a manual. The C8 can only be had with automatic transmission, which is too bad. So those are kind of like the affordable options. Then you can start to go crazy with it a little bit. Another one that comes to mind is the 2005 Ford GT, okay, to sort of fill in this category. This car kind of checks all the boxes, all right? It's analog enough that it's really cool and a lot of fun to drive, but it's new enough, it's 2005, 2006, that I wouldn't quite call it a classic. Supercharged V8, 550 horsepower, plenty of power. I mean, it's got the legacy of the GT name. It's so cool looking. Comes with a manual. This car is the car that kind of got me into cars when it came out, the 05 Ford GT. Love that car, one of my all-time favorites. The downside of it is that it costs $500,000. They started at like $250 when they were new, and they have gone up since then. They're like, because you can't get another manual supercar like that. If we're not taking price into consideration, I'd probably take it on my garage. Definitely a cool car. GT would probably be on there. If you want to go even more expensive, I do love Lamborghinis, I have to say. And while the Huracan Performante I think is cool, maybe not quite special enough. The Aventador is cool, but there's so many Aventador variations that I've kind of gotten frustrated with it. I think that the new Lamborghini coming out with the hybrid naturally aspirated V12 would be a perfect fit on here. Again, I want to see how it looks. I hope it looks so cool. I'm so excited for that car, and that would probably be on my garage, but again, we don't know what it's going to look like yet. And then real quick, finally, perhaps my favorite car of all time, the Koenigsegg 1-to-1, if you really want to go insane. So this car, 1,300 horsepower, it weighs 1,300 kilograms. If I could pick any car, Koenigsegg 1-to-1. I think it's so cool looking. I love the interior. I love everything about that car. It's like the perfect supercar to me, and you don't need to go any faster. Now, I love the Jesko as well, and I love all of the Koenigsegg's, and the Gemera is probably a consideration as well. There's so many things to take into account. But I don't know, the 1-to-1, I think it's the best looking Koenigsegg. It's also the rarest. They only made 6 of them. They cost, I'm sure, like $10 million or something like that. So, absolutely ridiculous. But I do really like that car. So, just as a quick recap, okay, I wouldn't own that many cars. The ones I know for sure are Dodge Dart, Pontiac Fiero, Corvair, station wagon. I'd be happy with just those 3, and I already own 2 of them. If we need to go further, I'd say Hummer EV as like my luxury all-weather cruiser, and then some sort of supercar on top of that. 05 GT, probably. New GT, love those, but also they cost like $2 million. 1-to-1, love it. Aventador, can't wait to see what the replacement looks like. But that's kind of what I had in mind for my ideal garage. Let me know what you guys would have in your perfect garage, and make sure to let me know what you think of my perfect garage, and if I'm wrong, tell me why, and what supercars should I own in my garage, because there's so many to choose from. That's really it, everyone. Thank you for watching today. I'm going to try and be a bit more regular with videos, but again, we'll see. School is just crazy. And yeah, thank you everyone for watching, and I will see you later. Goodbye. So there's a few options here. Stop beeping at me. Stop it. That's what I thought. Ah.